Happy Friday, everyone. Did you know that on Wednesday, April 17th, I am teaching a free to attend webinar on how to have difficult conversations? You still have time to join me, so I'm going to put the link in the description here of the video so you can participate if you like. So, why difficult conversations? I think, and here I'm gonna focus on professional conversations, but the same applies to personal conversations, okay? I think so much of our interpersonal conflicts or problems or misunderstandings can be solved through communication. And what makes conversations difficult is really what's at the core, I would say, of what I'm going to share on Wednesday. And of course, how to then make them not difficult, right? In other words, I don't think any conversation has to be difficult. Very often we think that it's a topic that will make a conversation difficult, but I think that's rarely the topic. It is an inside game and a misunderstanding of what contributes to our relationship and the effectiveness of our communication with each other. So I know this might sound like a lot right now in a few minutes. So let me share three things with you about difficult conversations and how to have them. Um, things I'm going to invite you to look in that direction and to understand a little bit how these things come in the way or help, in your communication. So one thing that I think we in general underestimate is how affected we all are by the way communication is done on social media. Okay. Social media promotes, prioritizes, and teaches, us all to talk in a way that's like cool, um, you know, short and to the point, judgmental, you know, the idea of like, yes, I'm gonna make, the two sentences mic drop, or the, refuting the other person's point in a way that is, funnier or stronger, or clever, or all that kind of stuff. Um, it promotes disagree and agree sort of scenario. It's terrible for actual conversations, right? If you unplug from it for a while, like for a few months, and then you go back to your platform of choice, okay? Whether it's Twitter, now X, or Facebook, or Instagram, or TikTok, it doesn't matter. Like, you will notice how dysfunctional that is. And also how it's never really a conversation. Even when it seems like it's a conversation, there's a level of back and forth that doesn't really help with deeper, more subtle, complex understanding. Now, even if intellectually you might not, as I'm saying this, and think, yes, of course, I know that, I am gonna um, say that you might still underestimate the impact of this. I know that for myself, I sometimes really realize, wow, even though I try to not engage with that or stay away from it, or be very, very conscious of the effects, I still sometimes notice how much I picked up on that, okay, in my own speech. And I had to really work hard, and I keep have to working on not falling into certain patterns. So this is really the one thing I want to start with, to invite you to, all of those things are not good practices when we're trying to have conversations that are quote unquote difficult, okay? The second thing about difficult conversations that has helped me a lot in learning how to deal with them is to realize the difference between caring for other people, attuning to other people, being present, being mindful or intentional with my words, and manipulation. Okay. And this is a big one because I think that I'm gonna make up this percentage, so don't quote me on it. But it feels to me like 90% of what is on the internet, as far as communication advice, is basically teaching you how to be manipulative. Okay, from the, use these words if you want people to do what you ask them, to what does it mean when your spouse says that, or whatever. Like um, all of this is just advice to make you again try to get a certain outcome, behavior, words, feelings from other people. That is manipulation. Every time you're trying to get something out of somebody and control the way they react to you, that's all manipulation. Okay, that's very different than being authentic, and at the same time to be aware of other people's feelings, or to really be intentional in the way you want to express things so people understand what you're trying to say, or all this kind of thing. So sometimes there's a subtle difference there, but it's very, very important. And why am I saying this? Because when we're in a situation where that is difficult or appears difficult to one of us, we are much more sensitive to anything we perceive as manipulative. Okay, so it's really good to be able to stay away from that, even though, you know, it's innocent, and very often that's what we're taught. But it's amazing when we can again unplug from that and actually come from a place of attunement and authenticity. The third thing is that your ability to have a quote unquote difficult conversation with somebody is directly related to the kind of rapport you already have with them. Okay, what does that mean? It means that if you tend to have if you're very disconnected, or from the other person, or there's a sense of general distrust, or there are unaddressed power dynamics that come in the way, or anything that's like simmering there is part of the context of that difficult conversation. And so I think very often we try to go from uh, you know a report that's not quite there yet to something very difficult. Well, it's the report not being there that makes that conversation very difficult. So unless it's something you have to talk about tomorrow, and you're like, well, I can't really focus on report at all, I need to go pretty fast, in which case, okay, I'll have tips on dealing with that. But ideally, you really want to cultivate a rapport so that conversations can flow at the right level and at the right speed from that rapport. And the healthier the rapport is, the more conversations you can have, meaning the more difficult conversations you can have, they will not seem that difficult. The more trouble you have in your report, or lack of report, or any of that kind of stuff, anything can become a difficult conversation. Okay, so there's a lot more I could share here, but I like to keep these Friday videos very short, right? If you join me on Wednesday, I'm dedicating 1 hour to this, and I'm really planning on giving you a lot of things to think about, and that you can then start implementing based on what makes sense to you right away. So check the link, tell me what you think, and I will see you on Wednesday. Have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend.